Good morning and welcome to the fourth webinar of this series of 5. And this morning's session is with Michael Knowles and it's Search Engine Optimisation. So you're all very, very welcome. This is, as I said, our fourth series. The feedback has been excellent. The numbers attending have been excellent. So we're more than delighted to be working with Google Digital Garage in this series. The final series is next week, the 12th of May. We're still taking bookings, so please come onto our website, register your place on it. There's plenty of room. The numbers are still very, very strong, but we have room. So 12th of May next week is Google Analytics. So you're very, very welcome. Feedback on the programs have been excellent. Michael is an experienced digital trainer, and I believe the session this morning will be excellent as well. So please stay in touch with your local enterprise office. Keep an eye on our website. A lot going on, similar webinars coming over the summer months. So exciting times. We're delighted to be working with Google in this collaboration, and we do hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for the introduction there, Martin. Guys, welcome along to this Google Digital Garage training session, which is Get Started with SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. As Martin said, guys, my name is Michael Knowles. I'm an experienced trainer for Google's digital skills training program, the Google Digital Garage. Guys, I've been in this sector for probably over 10 years now, and my kind of area of expertise is around things such as SEO, analytics, paid ads and things like that. And over the next hour, I look forward to sharing with you this fantastic updated content. I'd also like to introduce our moderator for today's session, and that is Emma Gray. Emma is my wingman for the day. She's awesome. Emma is an experienced Google Digital Garage coach, just like myself. She'll be interacting with you guys in the chat, answering some of the questions that you might have, passing through some comments, but also kind of keeping us on track to make sure that you guys can get back to your normal workday on time. Guys, you can identify Emma as the moderator in the chat there, as there's a little blue spanner just next to her name. So Emma, if you could just make yourself known, that would be great. Just to echo what Martin was saying there, guys, this is the fourth of a 5-part series to do with Leo Fingal. The final webinar is next week, which I'll be covering around Google Analytics, which I'm really excited for. So be sure to kind of get yourselves booked in there as well. Just a couple of basic housekeeping points, guys, to make sure you get the very best experience today. If you're having any trouble at all viewing this webinar right now, just hit refresh at the top of your browser, and that should actually sort out some of the issues that you might have. If you would like to join the instant chat on the side, I'm just trying to work out which way around my camera might be because we're running through 2 platforms. To join the instant chat on the side there, guys, you'll just need to quickly create a YouTube account, which will only take about 10 or 15 seconds to do. And that will enable you to interact with the fellow viewers, ask questions, raise points, interact with Emma, and have some fun in the chat there. We will be pausing throughout the session, guys, to answer some of the more complex questions that we get from the chat box. So please do feel free to kind of fire away with questions throughout the session. Don't just wait for the Q&A breaks, because that's when we'll be answering. Pop the questions in. This is a safe environment, guys. You know, this is the opportunity to have 2 Google Digital Garage coaches to ask those questions that you might have felt, you know, is this a stupid question? I might feel a bit odd asking this in work. Should I know? There's no stupid questions here, guys. I guarantee if you're thinking it or you're not sure on it, there's going to be at least 2, 3, 4, 5 people thinking that kind of same thing as well. All right. As Martin mentioned, we're running this Digital Garage virtual training as part of a broader series of webinars in partnership with Leo Fingal. If you want to check out the full schedule of upcoming webinar trainings, please see the information in the description below. Also, feel free to share your experience on social media and tell your friends, your business connections, family members who are in business about these. And also, if you could use the hashtag Digital Garage. Also, guys, feel free to check out the new Google for Small Business website, which is your one-stop shop for all products, tools, and training you need to help get your business moving. We've built a step-by-step online success guide to show you, to help you to show up more on Google, create and improve your website, reach more customers, build loyalty, and work effectively from anywhere. Emma, if you could possibly pop the link in the chat, that would be great. And guys, if you just grab the link from there and save that away. Lastly, guys, we get asked this a lot about sharing the slides and things there. What we'll have is, if you've got any feedback, first of all, about today's session, if you complete the feedback form, which is linked in the description box, once you complete the form, a link's going to appear for you to actually download a PDF of today's content, and then you can also rewatch today's session on the Leo Fingal YouTube channel. So that's the housekeeping done, guys. Let's get started. So guys, today's session is going to be split into 3 sections. First of all, understanding how search engines actually work. Okay, now that's quite an important step, because once we start to understand, okay, how does the system work? How does it want us to work? Okay, it starts to tailor and it'll start to change how you think about how you build your marketing machine. All right. And next is getting started with search engine optimization. So understanding the benefits that are brought by SEO, how you can get started using this marketing channel, and some top tips for success. And then finally, optimize your SEO strategy for success. So what we're going to do there is gaining insight into both on-page and off-page SEO techniques, which will help you to optimize your SEO strategy, maximize your chances of success, and return on that kind of marketing investment and time. All right. So how do you currently market your goods and services to customers? What I'd like to know is, I'd like you to start popping in the chat, guys. Start populating. Okay. As I said, I'm going to give everything over the next hour. I just need you guys to jump into the chat. And what I would also ask as well, or if you would like to, sorry, is pop your name and your business name, and then I'll give you a shout out on here as well. All right. What I want you to do is, I want you to pop a comment in the chat box with answers to the question on screen. All right. Then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pull out some of the answers and see how you guys do actually kind of market your goods and services at present. All right. So I'm going to wait for some of those to come through. All right. We've got a minute or two. I'll move on to the next slide. Okay. And then I'll come back to some of these answers as you start to fill them in. All right. Okay. I'll keep on moving. Start typing, guys. Start thinking about what kind of things you're doing at the moment. So let's start by gaining an understanding of how search engines actually work. So what's the primary purpose of a search engine? So before we deep dive into discussing the role of the search engine, I'd like to hear from you what you think the primary purpose of a search engine actually is. All right. There's different kind of feels around this. All right. Some people think that it's just for visibility. Some people think for Google to understand your business. Let's just take a moment, okay, as well, for you guys to kind of start getting the creative juices flowing, okay, and tell me what you believe the primary purpose is of a search engine. All right. So we've got 1 or 2 coming through. So we've got Sarah Costello on the first question here. How do you currently market your goods and services to customers? So Sarah Costello is saying that they currently use Facebook and Instagram to reach their customers. Finn O'Leary, social media class art. They use flyers, Facebook and Instagram. Adele O'Rourke, I think that's how I pronounce that. Avanta Safety, and they use email, Facebook, and the website. Then we've got Mark Herbert, who says that they're currently using Facebook, Instagram, and Google Ads. Interesting. Okay, so that tends to be the way that people do. They utilize a lot of these channels. However, I do believe that organic and SEO is something, while it is for the longer term, can sometimes be overlooked a little bit. Emma's doing a great job passing them through. Thank you. So the purposes of a search engine. Let's just see what you guys are kind of thinking. All right. So Rob Mullen, primary purpose is to help people find information. Francis Vilingo, to find relevant content for the searcher or researcher. Yeah. Okay. So the mission of a search engine is to show the most relevant search result to the searcher, like what you've said. All right. Over the next couple of slides, what we're going to be looking at is how search engines actually do this. All right. This is an interesting one. So I've got Life, Tech, Health and Living. And they're saying to align to people's search activity and be the best match. That's interesting. Michael Grace, help customers find your business by searching for keywords. Okay. Michael's a little bit ahead of the gun here. I like it. Keep that kind of positivity and energy going. So Google's mission is to make all information available, okay, and usable worldwide. All right. The information presented by search engines is limitless. All right. It's a tool used to help searchers navigate the internet, basically. In other words, Google wants to give you, the user, okay, the best user experience by providing you with the most relevant search results based on the keyword and the search query that you actually entered. Yeah. The system's been developed to best serve the user and to answer the search query as best as possible. So if you design your website aimed at the customer, you're already kind of one step ahead. All right. And that's something that we're going to reiterate again and again and again, is make sure that the customer is at the heart of what you're trying to do. Great points, guys. Thanks very much. So let's quickly discuss some of the benefits brought to businesses by marketing across and being present on those search engines. So reach both a local and global audience. Yeah, customers are searching for businesses, in their local area, but also around the world, depending on what they're kind of buying in terms of services and products. And they'll appear with both sets of those in the search results, which appear on your SERP. Search Engine Results page, SERP. That's the page that comes up once you hit enter after you've typed your keyword in. Local SEO, local SEO is the process of appearing in local search results. And we're going to discuss this in a little bit more detail later on, because there's some easy ways of kind of helping yourself to appear more often for local search results. People looking for things within your town, within your city and things like that. Increased footfall and online revenue. All right, so some of the benefits. One, generally kind of increase your brand awareness as a whole. It's going to help you to market your business to both local customers using tools such as Google Maps and Google My Business. It'll increase footfall to your physical store or traffic to your online shop. Yeah, and drive sales online. The other kind of things that we can look at as well is search engines help you to connect and communicate with your customers. Do this by increasing your online visibility. After all, if someone hasn't optimized their website for SEO, we've worked with some clients like this who they're using some paid channels and using social media, but aside from that, organically, their website is what you call digitally invisible. People would really struggle to find their website organically. The other kind of things that it'll help with is it'll encourage customers to leave reviews and respond to these. Yeah. So what you want to be kind of doing is making sure that you have the opportunity or the tools in place to ask for reviews and make it easy for people to, if they've kind of found that the service has been good, to be able to leave your review afterwards. After all, it's that trust factor, isn't it? Think back to the last time that you bought something, whether it be online or whether it was a bar or a restaurant that you were visiting, if it was a new place. Did you read the reviews first? Did you see how many Google stars they've got, or on Facebook, kind of that kind of thing? Did they have any reviews anywhere? Search engines are going to help with that. Also, search engines help you to learn about your customers, all right? And the reason being is you can leverage certain insights to start to collect quality and quantitative data, And once you start to analyze this, you're going to be able to understand key trends, key timings, and key demographic data to help support and refine your broader marketing strategy. This is the one that people ask us a lot when we're in kind of person. Do me and Emma and do the rest of the team, do we know the algorithm? No, we don't know the algorithm because we'd all be multi-billionaires, and it changes a lot. So now that we know that what search engines kind of are, and why beneficial, now we're going to look at kind of how they work, and how we can make use of them. In particular, let's understand what a search engine algorithm actually is. So we know that search can always be better. That's why Google engineers spend every day kind of testing it, conducting thousands of different experiments a year, resulting in different improvements and updates to the Google search algorithm. All right. Today we'll look at how it works, but for more information, you can actually check out a link that I would encourage you to save away. Emma, if you could possibly send the link as to how search works into the chat. And guys, after we finish today, if you just take a quick watch of this video, and it kind of breaks things down in a really kind of palatable kind of way of understanding it. So what is a search engine algorithm? So it's an algorithm, all right? It's a mathematical formula in which countless factors are kind of important, all right? Different ways that Google will kind of rank things in terms of importance to make sure that the user gets the best possible experience. The operation of the algorithm is never shown exactly, okay? Occasionally guidelines are kind of released, which you can find on various websites. And the algorithm is decisive for the ranking of each individual search results. At Google, our goal is always to provide you with the most useful and relevant information. Any changes that Google make to search are always for kind of the benefit of the actual user, okay, in terms of that usefulness of the results. So while they can't divulge kind of specific signals of the algorithm because they don't want to kind of give people, they don't kind of want to give people a way to kind of game the search results and worsen the experience for users. Their advice is to focus on creating high quality content and sites that create kind of better and kind of more user friendly and user experiences, okay? And look more at the white hat SEO methods instead of kind of engaging with spammy, old fashioned, outdated web tactics, all right? One of the things that you might have seen is Google released the Panda algorithm in 2011, which hit a lot of sites really hard. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. And what that was is Panda cracked down on really thin content farms, sites with high ad to content ratios, and a number of other quality issues. The goal of many of the kind of ranking changes is really to kind of help improve over time that user experience, making sure that when users are going online, they're getting what they need rather than what you as a business want to show them. So it's important to be user-centric at all times. So just how does the search algorithm identify the best possible results for users? Let's take a look. So first of all, there's a thing called a spider, all right? Google has these spiders that crawls the internet, okay, all the time. And what it's doing there is the spider's looking for new websites and existing websites to visit and to crawl to understand. So the spider crawls the website, but it looks at all of the structure and visits where possible all of the pages throughout the website. Now, the information it collects, okay, is saved in the search engine database at Google, okay? Now, what happens then is a user comes along, okay, and they enter a search query or a question, okay, or a phrase. And then what Google is doing is it shows the most relevant websites to display on that SERP, on the search engine results page. Now, something that a little while ago, I got told, this is a little bit kind of off the norm here, is if you haven't optimized, okay, so what you have on your website is, you know, when you have the tabs, so you might have About Us, you might have service pages, basic kind of primary pages across your site that then link further down. If those primary pages aren't easy to understand for the user, excuse me guys, if those primary websites aren't easy to understand for the user and haven't been optimized for Google to understand, then the amount of traffic, okay, and the visibility potential of the pages that lie beneath them is very, very limited. So it's important that we optimize with focus our primary pages to make sure Google has them, Google's crawled them, Google kind of understands them, to make sure that users and the spider can visit and flow throughout the website. Make a note of that, guys, because it's something which, when we kind of cottoned on to that a little while ago for my clients, it's something which kind of changed and helped to improve our SEO quite a lot. So this is what we call a SERP. Yeah, you're probably all familiar with it. Yeah, it contains three things mainly. And the first thing that you'll notice is we've got up here is you've got your search query. Okay, so what you or what the user has typed into Google. The results are then shown as either Google Ads or organic listings. Yeah. So what you've got here is you've got your shopping ads, which appear along here with the images that are paid for by people. Then you've got the paid text ads, which you can identify as paid text, as just in the corner there, you can see there's a little green box that says ad. Ads are paid listings that appear above the organic listings. Then what you have below is you've got the organic listings, okay? Ideally, where you want to be is kind of being at the top of Google. Okay, long term, this should be your primary kind of focus because this is where you'll get good recognition and good kind of traction. All right. So to help you find what we're kind of looking for quickly, Google provides results in many useful formats for you. All right. Whether presented as a map with directions, images, videos, or stories, it's constantly evolving with new ways to kind of present information to you. Yeah. They can feature maps, web pages, PDFs, even images, videos, and also the ads as well. Okay, we're going to pause just for a second to see if we have any questions coming through. I know you guys are keeping Emma busy here. Let me just have a look and see what we've got. Okay, so we've got, is it Ido or Ido Ran? Is it true that you have to have a blog for having good SEO for your site over time? It's one of the main things that I would encourage people to do. The reason being is it doesn't necessarily have to be a blog. It could be news, or it could be something where you have the ability to constantly add more content to your website, okay, discussing similar topics, okay. The way that I would kind of think about it, Ido, is think about a content strategy. So you might have a few keywords or phrases that you want to rank for that are quite difficult. Now, if you've got say a 10-page website, getting the basics right on there are going to help quite a bit. But long term, to start competing with your bigger competitors, okay, organically, you do need to be able to kind of build up a bank of content where Google can kind of understand that you guys are kind of specialists, experts in your field, okay, because you talk about these terms and you talk about services or these products quite a lot. So short answer is yes. I would say that you need something kind of like a blog or something where you can continually add and show your kind of knowledge and write more content around a specific thing. All right. Neve Cassidy, any tips for service-based industries? I would kind of, yeah, there is some of the work that we do tends to be with a lot of service. I would look for, okay, is do some keyword research, which we'll touch on in a moment, okay? Look for the common kind of misconceptions, okay, and questions, okay, that people either ask or when people have kind of typed in, okay, if they're not quite sure as to what your industry is about, okay, or they might be looking at things which maybe it's like an old wives' tale or something about your industry. It's a good place to start, because what you can do is you can start to use that to form some of your blog content strategy, okay? Or even on some of your primary pages, you might have a frequently asked questions section where you can kind of address that. And if you're confident enough, Neve, to kind of say, okay, these are the things that we normally kind of get challenged on, but this is the truth and this is what actually happens. One, it's going to help with SEO, but two, you're going to kind of be answering a lot of those kind of problematic questions that sometimes your sales team can face. Whereas if it can be addressed on those pages or within a blog or within an ebook, okay, which could potentially be downloaded, okay, you're going to be kind of creating marketing qualified leads, which might lead to, you know, a little bit more kind of marketing and sales success long term. I hope that helps, Neve. Great question. Okay, guys, we're going to move on. Any other questions, pop them in the chat. Emma will do her best to kind of answer as many as she can. Any of these kind of meatier questions, I'll get to in the next Q&A break, guys. Great stuff. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do now is let's turn our attention to search engine optimization itself. So search engine optimization, or SEO, okay, is a tactic that enables organizations to ensure that their websites are more easily found by search engine algorithms and therefore appear higher, okay, on the list of organic search results. It's a way of driving quality traffic and relevant traffic to your website and making it more visible to those potential customers. SEO really means is improving that visibility of your site for natural results. SEO kind of enables you to attract traffic to your site without advertising in the traditional mindset, so that your website will be presented in the results at no charge. Now, I'd be cautious, okay, when we say free or at no charge, because like you're aware, and like I'm aware, is your time is worth money. So just because you're not paying Facebook, Instagram, or Google ads, you are still investing some time, okay? And SEO is something which should be seen as a longer term solution, okay, to success, all right? So you will take a little bit of time and a bit of research, okay? But a well-rounded marketing strategy should 100% include SEO as one of your channels, all right? So let's take a minute to discuss the benefits brought by SEO. So what are they? So you might have seen a number of reasons for wanting to implement SEO practices. So let's take a look. First of all, to ensure that your website is placed high in organic search results. This increases your visibility to both local and global users who are looking for products and services like yours. Next up, to increase traffic to your website, okay, and therefore increase the volume of potential sales. This helps to ensure visitors engage with your e-commerce ecosystem and manage them through potentially something like a conversion funnel. 3, convert visitors into paying customers. Yeah, it's going to help to drive traffic and increase the number of paying customers, obviously. Next is to implement cost-effective marketing practices. So, guys, you can start using SEO, okay, fairly easily at low cost, okay, and it doesn't have to take a huge kind of advertising budget. You can start making some of these little changes, which we're going to get to shortly, okay, and you will start to see changes both short, medium, and long term. SEO is great to kind of help strengthen your brand, build awareness, and increase visibility. If your business appears on search results page, you're going to get a lot more exposure and a lot more views than if they didn't. Yeah. So what are kind of the golden rules of SEO? So an important lesson to keep in mind with SEO is that a web page is viewed through 2 lenses, okay? That of the customer, okay, and that of the web spider or the bot that kind of crawls it. As we just discussed, Google's goal is to kind of show you the most relevant search results for the searcher or the customer. However, customers and spiders search for and understand websites a little bit differently. You need to create a website with both the customer and the spider in mind. Yeah, the spider or the bot understands the site on the basis of a number of different technical elements, such as tags that appear in the code of your website. So for this, you use technical language. For the potential customer, the language must kind of be appealing, clear, helpful, and user-friendly. Both approaches are important if you want to ensure that your website can be found easily in a search engine. Yeah, and most importantly, when you kind of write the content and create the site with the user in mind, once they get there, chances are they're going to have a much clearer understanding as to what you do, why you're the best thing since sliced bread, and why they should choose you and work with you or buy your products and services. So let's look at how we can get started with it. So step 1. Okay, this is a tool that's often overlooked, and it's something that's not mentioned, okay, enough, in my opinion, is I want you guys to write this down. I want you to get started, okay, and sign up for Google Search Console. It's something that when I'm doing SEO for clients and things like that, it's one of the first things that we do. The reason being is if you haven't submitted your website, okay, since you've made wholesale changes, chances are some of that, potentially some of the pages and some of the content that you've written hasn't actually been crawled and accessed by the spider yet, potentially. So Google Search Console is a free tool, okay, that you'll be able to more accurately tell you how you actually rank on Google Search. So just like if you've used Google Ads or if you've used Facebook and things like that, you can start to get insights. This is the part where people have been wondering for a little while. Well, how do I actually see how I rank for certain terms? How do I understand how I rank organically on Google? And this is the tool for you. What it asks you to do is submit your content to Google on there. All right. And what it'll do is it'll start to monitor how you're actually doing in organic search. The other thing that's important, okay, and it's something I tell all clients to do, okay, is set up certain alerts. Okay, the reason being is we all know that running your business day to day, okay, can be extremely busy, a little bit stressful, and you don't have time to kind of check everything on your website all the time. If you set up alerts on Google Search Console will look and identify any issues or errors across the website, okay, that are making it hard or are broken across your website, okay, and it can kind of update you and notify you of that. How cool is that? You know, if you've paid a lot of money or you've spent a lot of time on content, people have gone to it and some of the links don't work, yeah, and you weren't aware of it. How much opportunity and how much business opportunity is that potentially costing you? Set these alerts up and make sure that you, in your Google Analytics, which I'll touch on next week as well, make sure that you've linked them together so that the information from Search Console can be displayed to you and utilized within your analytics as well. So step 2, help Google find your content. So we touched a little bit on there, is make sure that you've submitted a sitemap within Google Search Console. All right. If you need any kind of assistance with that, go to the Google Digital Garage website, okay, and look for Search Console or Analytics. Promote your site both on and offline. Yeah. What you want to be doing here is you want to be kind of utilizing links and things out, which we're going to touch on a little bit later, utilizing various different aspects and channels to keep on promoting your website. Yeah. As we touched on earlier as well, is you need to make sure that you're sharing new content often. Okay, is we want to be talking about the products and services that we do. We want to be positioning ourselves as thought leaders within the industry that we're kind of in, to kind of be the person with the answers, be the person who shows the knowledge, okay, and gives away a little bit of our secret sauce to kind of draw the customers in. The next part is optimizing your content. And this is about helping Google understand the content. So now you're going to look at creating valuable content that your users really want. Google highly values useful and fresh content that helps users to find what they're looking for. So make sure that you're creating unique content with very accurate page titles as to what the article is about and what the user can expect. But make sure that the titles are logical. Use snippets, okay, where possible, just little sections, okay, to make sure that the user can kind of find information easily. But also Google will start to be able to pull some of those out as well. Use headings to emphasize really kind of important text. It might be what you call an H2 tag or an H3 tag. And within your website builder, if you highlight text and then click where there's normally kind of a text size, it'll normally kind of say H1, H2, H3, and so forth. All right. So some top tips for SEO. First of all, guys, make sure that you're conducting keyword research. All right. What I want you to do is make a note that you can use some tools such as Google Keyword Planner. Google Keyword Planner. All right. And that is kind of, that's within the Google Ads platform. Okay. It's a tool that's available at no charge. Okay. But you do have to create an account. All right. Some of the other tools that you might use is there's some other tools out there such as Neil Patel's Uber Suggest. And then there's also some paid for tools out there as well. But a great place that we get the vast majority of our data from is Keyword Planner and sometimes Uber Suggest as well, just to check for some other kind of terms as well. What keywords research is going to do is it's not just going to show you what people are typing into Google. It's also going to show you how often, okay, and how competitive it is. So if you've got, if something is used a lot by your competitors, okay, and it's searched for a lot, it's probably because there's a lot of opportunity there. What you want to be doing first is you want to kind of spot that low-hanging fruit. Those terms and phrases that are highly relevant to what you do, that have a little bit of competition, but not too much. If there was stuff there which is exactly what you do with good search volumes and low competition, go with it, okay? Because I guarantee once you write a couple of articles of that, you'll see very quickly that you'll start to kind of climb the Google rankings. The next part is make sure that you're keeping in mind is to publish useful, high quality content. understand your customers and optimize your content to suit their needs. One of the things I was trained a while ago, a girl in Ireland used to work for a different tech company, which I won't mention. She worked for a tech company and she did some training with me, probably about 6 years now, and it transformed my whole kind of mindset towards marketing. Write this down because it's such a simple kind of way of doing it, okay? But as long as you apply it, it kind of helps and facilitates with all aspects of digital marketing. It's so what and who cares? So what and who cares? What that means is yes, you've got these great products. You've got these services which can help. So what? So what? How do you break it down? How do you break it down for the user and for the viewer to kind of understand? How do you make it kind of bed in with them? How do you make it appeal to them? How do you kind of set context with them? It's that so what that you must keep in mind. The next part is who cares? Who's it actually for? Yeah, you need to understand your target personas. You need to understand your customer or customer bases, okay? And position it potentially slightly different. So what and who cares? If you can keep that in mind with all of the content, all of the ads that you do, all of the SEO strategy, I guarantee that you will see significant benefit because you'll be able to get out of your own head, okay, and put that customer mindset head on. All right, next one, guys. Make web pages search engine friendly. So on-page optimization are changes you can make to your website's individual pages and can quickly help search engines to actually better understand your content. All right. So one of the things that you shouldn't do is don't keyword stuff your page. All right. Once you've done your keyword research, don't just cram 20 keywords onto a page because it won't sound like a real person. It'll sound like a robot and it won't be engaging to the user. Yeah. A good rule of thumb that I kind of normally say to people is where possible. Okay. One of the kind of the key things is within the title. Okay. And the header tag. Okay, make sure that you're using the keyword within there, the name of the article, the name of the page. Okay, use it within the URL, and then try to use it maybe between 3 and 4 times throughout the content. Okay, and if possible, if you're writing blog and news articles, updates, try and have around 600 words as a kind of thought process in your head as a minimum. All right. It means that Google's going to understand there's a lot of decent content there. It's worked well. People are going to spend a little bit more time reading it. So therefore, they're going to spend more time on the site. And it gives you an opportunity to feature that keyword, 3, maybe 4 times throughout. That would be a good starting point for you guys. Okay. So let's take a step back before we learn to go forward. What's that keyword again? Yeah. So keywords are words or phrases that are used to match your advert or your listing with the terms that people are actually searching for. For your ad to appear on a search engine, you need a keyword, okay, to match some part of the user's kind of search query within Google. For instance, if someone searches for local restaurant, what words would they kind of normally be using or search for? Yeah. They'd likely be searching for things such as restaurant, near me, local restaurant, maybe takeaway, that kind of thing. These words enable the search engine to determine what the user wants to see and which results will be most relevant and best served for them. These search terms are keywords, and without them, your site wouldn't actually appear in those searches. Does that make sense? Any questions? Remember, keep on popping the questions in, guys, because we've got a Q&A break coming up in a few slides. So how can we choose our keywords? So first of all, you need to identify your keywords. So get inside your customer's head, identify the needs and their pain points. Think about what does your audience want? What do they need? Okay, what are the terms that they use to make searches? Yeah, list the keywords and phrases out. Do your research. Okay, and list them out there. Okay, start to work through them and look at the ones that are most relevant, okay, that you would love to kind of rank for. Okay, the ones that maybe don't have crazy levels of competition, but are very, very relevant to what you do. Also, identify their path to purchase and overall customer journey. Yeah, if you can start to understand, okay, how many different touch points are there? Okay, does someone think about the last time that you booked? I know it might seem like a long time ago. Think about the last time that you booked a holiday. Did you look for something on your phone for inspiration? Speak to your partner or your friend, then maybe research them a little bit on social media. And then when you came to book, did you go to a PC, or a laptop to book? How does that kind of customer journey normally kind of play out? If you look in your analytics, okay, in behavior or length path in analytics, which we'll touch on next week, you'll be able to kind of start to see all the different touch points that make up and lead to someone buying from you. Next, use the research tool. So we touched before on Keyword Planner. This is going to enable you to identify those keywords, identify popular terms, discover new keywords, because it's interesting. One, people search for things in a very different way than you would. So don't just think that you rank for the keywords how you would search for your product or business, because you're in your industry. You need to look at the data, okay, because you'll identify new ways, okay, and new terms and phrases that might seem a little bit odd as to how people find products and services like yours. Then you'll be able to find out what works and what potentially doesn't. All right. And as I said earlier, guys, it's a free tool to use. There's no charge involved, but you will just need to quickly create a Google Ads account to be able to get to it. Now, creating combinations of different search phrases. So once you've conducted your research, it's time to start pulling phrases together, creating combinations of keywords, and there's a lot of different combinations available to you. All right. So let's kind of test that out. Just how many keywords can you actually make? What I want you to do is I want you to comment in the chat with keywords that people might use, okay, for the following kind of business case. All right, just put an example as to how you would or how potentially you might search in different ways to find a boutique independent clothes store in Dublin. Yeah, pop it in the chat, guys, and let me know how you personally would go about finding a boutique independent clothes store in Dublin. For me, I would probably look for independent clothes shop near me. That's probably what I would put, and then I would see what would come up. Be interested to see how you guys would kind of look for it as well. I'll move on, okay, just because we've got a slight delay, just to see if any kind of points come through, any kind of interesting things from you guys. So some example keywords, okay, things that might be kind of included. Let's look at the combinations. So discuss the categories that are on screen for your business, location, and then a combination of the two. Okay, what we've got here, okay, is we've got keywords related to the business itself, which is fashion, clothes, maybe designer, boutique. Yeah, and then keywords related to an individual location. It might be part of kind of a postcode or zip code. So DO1, Dublin or Ireland. And then let's mix those combinations together to see what we could actually find. Clothes D01, clothes Dublin, fashion Ireland, boutique fashion. Let's take a look at some of the things that you guys were saying. So we've got Jessica Price, who says small sustainable clothes shop in Dublin. Excellent. Emmanuel Kirby, small boutique Dublin. Excellent. Okay. Be Well Pilates. I'm just trying to make my screen a bit bigger so I can see. There we go. Small boutique. There we go. Sorry. Be Well Pilates, Reformer Pilates, Belgian, and they are saying original clothes, funky clothes. And Michael Grace is saying boutique clothes store. Interesting. So it's very strange, isn't it? Imagine if you ran that store, okay, how many different ways from, what was that, 5 people, how many different ways people would actually try and find the same thing. That's why it's important to get out of your own head, okay, and look at that keyword research as to how other people find and start to discover businesses, products, and services like what we provide. Thanks, guys. Great points. So remember, guys, while the keywords are important, it's not all about that. Keywords aren't the only way of improving your search engine rankings when using SEO. Let's take a look at some of the other factors. So we need to make sure, okay, that users actually trust us. Users will feel comfortable visiting your site if they think it's trustworthy. A site with a good reputation is trustworthy, and you can do this by creating reputation for trustworthiness or a knowledge area in a certain area. Provide information about certain things. So Things like who publishes your site, provides the content and its goals. For example, what you might have is shopping and other financial transaction websites. Things like that, they should always kind of have clear and satisfying customer service information to help users resolve the issues. Does that make sense? News kind of sites should provide clear information about who is responsible for the content, so we know where it's kind of coming from. And then also using appropriate technologies is also vital for us. For example, if a shopping checkout page doesn't have a secure connection, okay, in the URL, okay, then it's likely that a lot of people would actually drop off because they don't trust the site. So when we say a secure connection, if you look in the URL bar of the next website that you go to, okay, you'll see a little lock just to the left-hand side of the actual URL web address. And that means that it's secure. So any data moving, okay, is safe. You don't really want to kind of be buying, okay, anything online, okay, where it doesn't have that lock. Sometimes depending on the browser you're using, it won't let you get there. Okay, but make sure that if you do sell online and you are requesting customer information via forms, that you make sure that you've got your SSL certificate updated. Also, showcase your expertise. So expertise and authoritativeness of a site increases its quality. Guys, ensure that the content in your site is created or edited by people with expertise in that specific topic. What you don't want is you don't want to be kind of selling services and things like that are worth a lot of money and having it written by someone who doesn't work in the area at all or has no working knowledge, because that could potentially kind of be shown in the quality of the content. It might appear a little bit thin. Yeah, make sure that you're using reputable sources, okay, and cite your data, okay, sources, things that are appropriately, yeah, and link to them potentially as well. Great way of kind of creating other links. So guys, creating high quality content takes at least one or more of the following. Okay, it takes expertise, talent, skill. Okay, it takes a lot of effort. Okay, but it is worth it. Okay, because what it does is it shows your expertise and helps you to become a thought leader in that area. Finally, guys, avoid displaying too many adverts. So what we mean by that is avoid distracting users with too many adverts and pop-ups. Google's system expects there to be adverts on the site, but make sure that they're not distracting to the user too much. Yeah, make sure that they don't stop a user from navigating throughout your site or understanding the information clearly. All right. So as we discussed earlier, SEO can provide results both globally and locally. Local SEO enables businesses to ensure that they appear in local search results and thus connect with a local audience. It's your way of appearing in results when searchers have used phrases such as nearby, near me, and things like that. This is a really key way of driving footfall and revenue for SMEs and small businesses who really utilize that market. So how can we go about doing this? First of all, guys, we've actually got a full section on the Google My Business, the Google Digital Garage portal, okay, around creating an effective Google My Business listing. Google My Business is that little knowledge panel that on your PC or laptop will come up on the side with images, all of the information, and on a mobile, it'll come up in the center with website, phone, directions, map, and business information. Guys, it's free. And I can't kind of understate just how powerful it can actually be. It provides information on search, such as contact details, phone numbers, location, websites, the ability to kind of display your reviews, and a lot more. Google My Business is really easy to set up, okay? And it helps you to appear in Google Maps and local searches. So if you're somewhere where you want people to actually be able to walk to your shop or cafe, it puts a pin on the map where people can press directions. Yeah, if you don't want people to visit, you can say that you don't serve people there, and it'll put a circle roughly in the area. So say you run a business out of your small bedroom at home. Okay, you might want people to know that you run a business in this area, but you don't want people knocking at your door. So to set up your business, you Google My Business, just go to business.google.com or download the Google My Business app. Add as much details as you can, okay, and make sure that you've gone through the verification steps. Next step is make sure that you've updated your contact details and addresses, because Google's going to use all of that information, okay, to ascertain what's kind of useful and who to display to people looking for searches within the local area. All right, make sure that you've updated that. List your business on local directories. Okay, make sure that your business is included in local business directories. Okay, to make sure that as much information as possible is visible about your business in these different kind of directories to drive people to your site. It's a great way of creating very simple and small, what you call backlinks to your site. This is going to help to boost your visibility, boost your rankings, and so forth. Pay attention to intent on local searches as well when you're doing that keyword research. There's things called micro moments, so certain terms and phrases, okay, that people seem to be typing in. Google calls the point that a customer turns to their phone to search for a product that micro moment. So examples of these might be: I want to go, I want to know about, I want to do, I want to buy. These kind of things. Yeah. These moments are key times when purchasing decisions can kind of be won or potentially lost. Think about it this way: what would lead you to find out more about a business and make them the purchasing decision? If you wanted to buy a cake, for instance, for your son or daughter's birthday, but he's gluten intolerant, you'd search for cake shops, and especially those selling gluten-free cakes. If you can't find this, you're likely to kind of look into the business and make a purchase. If the results don't meet your needs, then you're likely to potentially disengage. It's that micro moment. All right. So SEO versus SEM. Okay, search engine marketing. Okay, we're going to move through these at quite a pace, just to make sure that we get you guys finished on time. All right, let's look at the differences. So SEO is search listings which are organic, that appear at no charge apart from your time. Okay, and you optimize your content for keywords. Okay, but it can and it should be viewed as a long-term strategy. SEM, or search engine marketing, you pay for the ads. Okay, you bid on certain keywords or phrases. Okay, but you can actually get onto the first page of Google potentially, like very, very quickly, if not straight away. Okay, guys, we're going to skip this and we'll answer a few questions at the end. Okay, just to make sure that we get tied up within the next 10 minutes. I can see that we've got a couple of questions holding, and I'll do my best to get to them towards the end, guys. So, optimizing your SEO strategy. Simple pillars of SEO, all right, is on-page SEO. You've got the content that you want to put on there, which we've touched on in detail. We've got HTML, which we'll get to in a moment. We've got accessibility, making sure that anyone and everyone who would like to be able to access your website and content can. We're going to put a little bit more meat on the bones in a moment. Next thing is off-page SEO. So you might have linking to your social networks and things there, but also developing links so that people feed links and link to your website and want to contain your content. So content, key elements to consider. We need to make sure that the content that we're creating is specific, relevant, unique, and it's original content that's going to be helpful to our users, easy to read, okay, and well thought out. We're going to make sure that it's containing the keywords that we've done the research on. As I said, only use the relevant keywords and terms in your content, and maybe use between kind of, a couple of keywords and only utilize them 3, maybe 4 times max throughout. Keep the content up to date. Okay, don't copy text from another site or just reuse it on your own site, because you can actually be downgraded by Google for that. All right, you may need to be making kind of that unique quality content that's going to help your users. Mixed media. So don't think that it's always about text. Think about using text, using images, using infographics, video, and things like that to help people engage and understand the products and services. So key considerations when we're looking at the keywords is we need to consider the relevancy to our products and services. Yeah, we need to understand kind of volume and frequency, the number of times that a word is actually searched for. We want to use the terms that people are looking for most often in relation to our products and services. Keep in mind, however, that sometimes it can be difficult to distinguish your company with widely used terms. So make sure that you are kind of going that little bit more specific. Competition. How much competition is there on certain keywords? Well, when you're doing your research, you're going to be able to find that out. And as I said, good train of thought, okay, is to look for that low-hanging fruit first to have kind of a shorter-term impact. And if there's larger kind of ones which are a lot more competitive, build them into your long-term strategy, okay? Keep on mentioning them throughout content or referring to them, okay, as part of your long-term strategy. So this might look a little bit nerdy, okay, but it's not, okay, when it's broken down. Page titles and meta descriptions, okay, are two types of pieces of HTML code that should be found on every page on the internet. Like a book, they tell you the title of the page, okay, and kind of like a summary of the page. Okay, so the meta description is that little gray box, okay, sorry, the little bit of gray writing underneath the title that comes up on a search engine results page. So you'll have the blue writing, and then you'll have a little gray section that communicates with the user what they can expect on the page. The title tag, okay, the title and the meta tags can be found in the HTML code in the head section. Now, when you're doing your website, okay, and optimizing your website, the H1 tag is part of the page layout, okay, and it's in the body part of the code. You need to make sure, where possible, that your H1 tag contains the focus keyword that you really want to kind of try and rank for in the short term, okay? Make sure that it's easy to read, not too long, okay, and contains that keyword or phrase. This is how it would kind of help you to show up, is page titles are a singular line of text that you see in a search engine results page when bookmarking a page and on a tab on the browser, and they're likened to kind of like using a book title. They're normally a short description of the linked page. The meta descriptions here, can you see this gray writing here? Okay, that's the meta description. That's a short description of the page, similar to kind of the blurb on the back of a book. So you can kind of get a feel as to what it's about. So here's your search query. If you can kind of feature some of those terms and phrases within your title and within your meta description, it shows the user, this is the right page for me. All right, accessing the HTML for text structure. So structure your text through different headings. Within the back end of your website, when you're amending content, make sure that you're utilizing H1, header 2, header 3, and header 4 tags to help the user, okay, break the text up, but also so Google has a good understanding as to what the page is about and the key terms and headings that can be found on that page. So there's also an HTML structure for photo and video. Photos are an important part of the customer user experience, but crawlers can find photos a little bit easier to kind of understand and categorize. So it's recommended that we kind of utilize alternative text. Okay, that's useful for people using a screen reader, but also for kind of a spider or a crawler, okay, understanding what is actually within the images on the site and so forth. All right. So accessibility. We need to make sure that spiders can enter the website through a certain link. Okay, any link that's there, we need to make sure that it can be crawled and that you can move between the web pages. All right, the spider should be able to crawl all of your content across your website. Okay, and information is going to be stored and indexed in a database. Okay, so once your entire website's kind of crawled by something or by a bot or a spider, it's going to be held by Google as the latest version of your site. Yeah, users can then search for things online, okay, and Google will match what it understands about your website to this. Okay, they'll match that website to the query that's been typed in. Yeah. So how do you go about creating a sitemap? So first of all, you may see quite often on the bottom and in the footer of a lot of websites is they'll actually have what you call an HTML sitemap. This is just kind of providing all of the different links throughout the website so that a user and a crawler or a bot can actually access it all. There's also a thing called an XML sitemap for search engines only, okay? And what this does is this is where you can actually get the XML sitemap, okay, and input it into Google Search Console or Bing Webmaster Tools. You submit the sitemap and Google will have a much better understanding once it's crawled the site as to how your website links together and what's actually across the entire site. I hope that makes sense. So guys, tools that you might want to consider looking into, all right? is, first of all, measuring your speed, okay, making sure that your website runs efficiently, it doesn't take forever to load if people haven't got a 100 meg line, is make sure you look on Google Page Speed Insights. Emma, if you could possibly pop the link in there. We've also got one called Test My Site. These are a great place to start to kind of get an understanding as to how your website ranks for speed and performance on both PC and both on kind of a Mac or on a mobile version. Really important, because Google's found that 53% of mobile website visitors will leave if a website doesn't load within 3 seconds. Okay, so important to kind of see. Next is identifying the keywords. So Google Keyword Planner, as we touched on earlier, is definitely the place to start. Make sure that you sign in as in expert mode to access the tool, not in smart mode. All right. Next, what we've got is analyzing consumer trends. So go to, make a note of this one, guys, is we've got Google Trends itself, and we'll pop the link in the chat. This is going to show you kind of topics and queries that are kind of trending right now. All right, it's dynamic, and you can look for different times and kind of different spaces in time, but you can also look at multiple locations as well. Finally, guys, make sure that you're tracking your SEO performance. Okay, make sure that you've set up your analytics. We'll touch on that next week, but also definitely set up your Google Search Console, register, okay, and get it connected to your site so that it can start analyzing, and you'll start receiving tips about broken links, ways to optimize, and things like that. All right. Now, a couple of quick points as to what we can do to start link building is linking to relevant sites with authority. Make sure that you're mentioning those. It's great for you, great for the other company as well. And create interesting content that people would want to share. You know, if you create interesting content from a blog or from news, people are likely to kind of share it, talk about it, share it on social media, and create those links for you. If you invite people to rate your product on external review sites such as Google My Business, Facebook, Trustpilot, that's going to also contribute to your link building. One thing that I wouldn't do, guys, is where possible, don't pay for links in online directories. Okay, it's not necessarily needed. Okay, and if you're working with a small budget, search engines are not a big fan of kind of paid links, just going for that. Okay, so these can sometimes have a negative impact and influence on your findability. You don't really kind of need to be on spammy forums. Okay, if they don't kind of look legitimate and they don't kind of look as though they've got the user at heart, stay clear. All right. Search engines, as I said, they're not a fan of kind of these paid links. As I said, they can sometimes have a negative impact. Finally, social media. Social media, great source of kind of collecting reviews and links, okay, and telling people about your website. So it already kind of starts with the creation of social media profiles, whether you create a profile for your business or website on social media platform, always make sure that you've got the URL on there. All right. Utilize influential vloggers and bloggers. So if there's anyone kind of who is that authoritative voice in your industry, try, if you wanted to, you could mention them, reach out to them to share content and so forth. Okay, guys, I think we're actually slightly over time. Okay, so apologies if we didn't get to any questions. Hopefully Emma was able to kind of pick some of those up within the chat box there. Let me just have a quick look. See if there's anything that we can quickly cover. How often should you publish new content? Blogs. To get started for a small business, that's from Michael Grace. If you look at 1 a week, maybe 2 a week, 1 a week would be kind of a good rule of thumb just to kind of get yourself going. Is it work? Well, Pilates, is it worth working on tags, meta tags in every single page and blog? Yes, is the simple answer. 100% make sure you're optimizing to get the maximum value. All right, guys. So apologies that we've had to kind of fly towards the last couple of minutes there, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that's kind of been a useful first step into this area of digital marketing. We've covered a lot of information, so make sure that you guys take the next steps as well. One of the next steps that you need to be checking out is Google for Small Business. Again, one-stop shop to find all of the tools and resources for your business, from online success guide to a digital toolkit, tips for dealing with COVID-19. All right, you're going to get a lot of use out of there from showing up on Google, improving your website, reaching new customers, and building loyalty and working effectively from everywhere. Emma, if you could possibly pop the link in the chat, that would be great. Guys, as I mentioned at the beginning of the session, if you're interested in more training from us here at the Google Digital Garage, there's a few ways you can continue your learning. We are running the next Google Digital Garage webinar in partnership with Leo Fingal next week. If you'd like to check out the schedule and get yourself booked in, click the link below. Guys, if you'd like to share your experience on social media to tell your friends and family about, be sure to use the hashtag Digital Garage. You know, friends, family, business connections, they might find value in here as well. If you want to carry on learning in your own time, go to the Google Digital Garage website. We've got training courses which are available 24/7 at no charge. Finally, guys, if you've got any feedback about today's session, please complete the feedback form in the description box below. As I mentioned earlier, once you complete the feedback form, the link's going to appear for you to download today's content. And I think Martin might have touched on it earlier. You can always rewatch today's content on the Leo Fingal YouTube channel. Guys, thanks so much for joining us today. Apologies that we've run a couple of minutes over. I hope that was kind of a useful kind of deep dive and getting you started with your kind of SEO strategy. We look forward to kind of hosting you again, and we look forward to seeing you next week for the next talk. Have a great day, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.